This is Dan and Lexi from Dan Schultz Outdoors, reminding you to keep the adventures alive.
Hey y'all, I'm Johnny.
And I'm Colleen. And we're the Keel Quest. And we want you to keep the adventures alive. Cheers!
Hey, this is Darren from Ride Paddle Repeat, encouraging you to keep the adventures alive.
This is David from Beachley Ironworks saying keep the adventures alive.
I'm Jay, that's Skill. From Jay's Way, keep the adventures alive.
Hi, I'm Kevin Collin, the Happy Camper. Remember, keep the adventures alive. Awesome!
Woo, buddy! Shug here! Keep the adventures alive. I am.
Ethan here, the Avid Outdoorsy Guy, reminding you to keep the adventures alive.
We're Jon and Aaron.
Keep the adventures alive.
Hey everyone, it's Kylan from Lure of the North, and I encourage you to keep the adventures alive.
This is Sky North telling you, keep the adventures alive. And now on with the show.
Tonight's episode of CANOEHOUND'S Outdoor Adventure Show is brought to you by OTG Meals. Fresh, freeze-dried, small-batch meals made for people on the go. Algonquin Outfitters, with 4 key locations in and around Algonquin Park to serve your backcountry needs. Kid Products, stick stoves and reflector ovens proudly made in Canada. And Novacraft Canoes, connecting you with nature in Canadian-made canoes since 1970. Well, hello and happy Tuesday evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of CANOEHOUND'S Outdoor Adventure Show. My name is Dennis, also known as CANOEHOUND, and if this is your first time here, thank you very much for tuning in on this fine Tuesday evening. Hopefully you'll enjoy tonight's content enough that we can maybe make you a subscriber so you can come back and check out a lot more of these shows that we put together for you every Tuesday evening, as I said. Let's see here. We're going to get into just a quick little bit of news and announcements here before we get into tonight's guests. Going to be a fun show tonight. A couple of guys that have been on the show in the past are going to be gracing our presence tonight and should shape up to be quite the evening. Just to start, I'd like to pass on a heartfelt thank you to many of you who have contributed to my electrical gremlins of late. As many of you may know, I had a computer go on me and my streaming video camera. And it kind of put me behind the 8 ball for doing the show here. Good thing I had an old computer kicking around, and I have this old 720p streaming cam, which seems to be working okay. But I put the call out there, and a lot of you stepped up to the plate, and I thank you very much for trying to contribute to that Buy Me a Coffee wish list. It really helps. It really does help. This show does not generate a lot of income, believe me, and every little bit that comes through the pipeline here. Just so you all know, like I say, any money that is basically made with this show doesn't go into the pocket here. It basically goes back into the show, streaming software, new equipment, stuff like that. So everything I can do to try and bring you all a better product. So once again, thanks from the bottom of my heart to all of you who actually contributed. Just a heads up notice here. Recently I was speaking with Randy, owner of OTG Meals, and he informed me that he's going to be taking or slowing down over the colder winter months to do some business improvements. He's not going anywhere. Please don't think Randy's going to skip down OTG Meals, because that would be a bad thing, because everybody enjoys OTG Meals. But he's taking some time that he's going to replenish his inventory. He's having a difficult time keeping up with inventory right now because everything sells so fast. He also wants to revamp his website and a few other things, just take a little break too. But he wants to be totally prepared for the onslaught that he's going to receive come springtime. But he did ask me to mention to everybody that he'll be slowing down around the end of this month, but he's going to be having a sale on all of his existing product that he has left over, so he can clear out the stuff. Now, keep in mind, this stuff is always fresh anyways and carries a shelf life of like 25 years for freeze-dried meals. So great opportunity for you to stock up on some great OTG backcountry meals. If you're going to use them in the wintertime, it's a great time to grab these things now, while they're going to be at a cheaper price, as if his prices are not already affordable enough. So that's a great thing. So if you're interested in picking up some OTG meals, you can visit Randy's website at otgmeals.ca, not .com, .ca. Check that out. And he's got a lot of items still on there. Some things are sold out, but you'll want to make sure you get in on the stuff that he does have. I know OTG Meals is one of my favorite meals to eat in the backcountry nowadays. It just saves me all the hassle of doing all the freeze drying, or not freeze drying, the what do you call it, dehydrating. So and the taste, phenomenal. Anyway, so you got all that. Let's see. If you are gearing up and getting ready for the winter camping season, it's getting cooler out. I was just speaking with somebody that's in the basement right now that Toronto got a little hit of snow today. We had a little bit of flurries when I was driving home from work today. And you know what? That white stuff is just around the corner. For anybody that's way, way up north, you may already have snow and have the opportunity to get out to do some winter camping. Well, next week, put it on your calendars, because on Tuesday, November 22nd at 7 p.m., we are going to be having our annual winter camping episode. I'll have some knowledgeable people on here. We'll be discussing everything winter camping, everything from gear and, food and how to stay dry and warm, all these things that are very important, especially if you're new to the winter camping thing. So by all means, get that on your calendar, and hopefully we can see you all next Tuesday. I'll be posting all kinds of stuff about that throughout the week. Something from one of our affiliate sponsors here as well. Let's see here, Tilly Hats. And this is where I get to switch the hat for a moment, because I just got my new Tilly hat, or one of my new Tilly hats today. And I'll put that on here for a little show and tell. But anyways, they're an affiliate sponsor of CANOEHOUND'S Outdoor Adventure Show. And I've been given a promo code that if you visit their website, and the link is in the description below, and use the promo code Tilly Gift, all in capital letters. Man, this is all crooked on my head here. Maybe I need a mirror to put it on, but there we go. But if you use the promo code Tilly Gift, then you'll receive 20% off your purchase. If you're on the market for a Tilly hat, it's a great opportunity to pick one up. And just remember, Christmas is coming, and you may have that loved one in the house that's looking for a Tilly hat. Just make sure you use their sizing guide proper, so that you get the proper size for you. Couple of birthday wishes to some of our viewers out there. Thanks to those of you that actually send in the viewer stuff, and a lot of them I actually get people I follow. I find out on Facebook that it's your birthday, right? We got Tunis Richards from the YouTube channel Freak of Nature, turning 31 years old. Alan Drummond from Kingdom Outdoor Products, he's celebrating a birthday. One of tonight's guests, I believe, just finished celebrating a birthday this past week. So John from Lost Lakes, happy birthday to you. And of course, my best friend, the guy that I've known ever since early high school, He's celebrating his 58th birthday. Claudio, happy birthday if you're watching tonight, buddy. If not, you'll see it on the replay, or I'll let you know to make sure you watch this segment here when you get back from Mexico. So that's all good. If you have a birthday wish or a special occasion or something like that coming up, drop me an email at canoehound@gmail.com. I would be more than happy to post that and let everybody know that you're celebrating something. You know what? It's festive. Let's have some fun with it. Send that information across to me. Let's see here. We do have a couple of new channel members. To those of you that just signed up, thank you very much for your support. Please do drop me an email right down here again too at canoehound@gmail.com so that I can get your perks started for that. There, we'll get your membership sticker out, welcome letter, and things like that. So thank you very much for the support. It's greatly appreciated. And last two things before we get into tonight's guests. If you have any guests or hot topics that you'd like to see on the show, once again, this is the hub email right here that you want to do. If you have an idea, somebody you'd like to see on the show, a topic you'd love to see us cover, please do drop me an email. Let me know what you'd like to see, and I will do my darndest to make it happen. And then, of course, tonight's show is very interactive. If you have questions for myself or the guys I'm going to have on the show here in a few minutes, put the word question in the chat over there before your question. I'll do my darndest to get that up on screen. It might not be right away because I tend to star all the questions I see, and I try to fit them in at appropriate times. But if I don't get to your question after the 8 o'clock hour, by all means, I'll be posting a link. Join us here on screen. I'll give you a minute or two. Come on, ask a question. Leave a comment, whatever it might be. So yeah, let's have some fun with it. Don't be shy. We're here and we're just normal dudes like every one of you. With that being said, enough of the blah, blah, blah. Let's get into tonight's guests. Tonight's guests are a couple of my favorite YouTubers with channels full of great backcountry canoe trips, winter camping adventures, and a bit of humor thrown in there from time to time. Drawn by the Backcountry, they decided to meet up as YouTubers and do a collaboration video. And from that video, they become the best of backcountry buddies. Please welcome to the show from the YouTube channel Lost Lakes, we have Jonathan, Ontario. And from the website or the YouTube channel Xander Budnick, we have Xander Budnick, or the back of his head.
Hello, everyone.
Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Sorry, I never get to do that, so I really wanted to.
That's like entering the scene of one of them movies, eh? And the guy comes walking in with a gun or something, and the guys turn around. It's like,
I've been expecting you.
Reminded me of Inspector Gadget.
Oh, thank you. Well, I just want to correct one thing. You said you were backcountry buddies.
Yes.
Oh, that's a misconception. We're not buddies. We're actually lovers.
Oh, okay. Wow. And remember in the green room, I asked if you guys, if there's anything you didn't want to touch on. That was something I didn't want to touch on. No. Look, you got John blushing, Xander.
That's funny.
That's cool. That's cool.
Anywho.
Well, you know what? We got a good packed audience over there. I expect nothing but the best for all of them, and we're off to a good start. So, man, Xander, I understand we were just talking in the green room, and you're like 125 subs away from the big 500,000 subscribers. That's amazing, man. Congratulations.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, that was crazy. This year's been like slow, but like, no, well, how do I complain, man? Things have been like so good for me, and yeah, getting close to like 500,000. Like what? Like beginning of 2021, I was at 1,000 subs, and then just like I don't know. I'm here hanging out with you guys, like in a chat room and live streaming to how many people we got going? 200 people.
212 people on screen already.
Yeah. I gotta meet some of like the most like. I got to meet all like these YouTube personalities through doing this, like all like the people that I used to like look up to. So, I mean, I'm in a great spot. Now me and John are buddies. Like the heck.
That's funny. You know what? I first come across your channel. Actually, it was through John. He made mention of your channel, I think in one of his videos or something, saying, yeah, this guy's got some good stuff, or it was somewhere like that, maybe Facebook or something. And I checked it out, and then I started watching your content as well. And before you knew it there, I reached out to you. And at that point, you're already, your first time on the show here, you were like 120,000 subs. So that's big progress in a year.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. John's channel's been like going crazy. Like
It has.
it's hard to compete with him, man. Like that guy's putting out like the highest quality content out of really anybody I know right now. And it's like every time he puts out a new video, I'm like, God damn it, John. Like how do we compete? But it's great because he's pushing the level so much that it's just like bringing the whole industry like forward in a way. It's
that's generous. Thanks, buddy. But
true.
You're a much better YouTuber than me, that's for sure. You're an entertainer, you're so fun, and you're lovable.
Thanks, man.
I'm just this nasty, cold, wet blanket.
Yeah, so Fred here is saying quality content, build it and they will come. Yeah, couldn't be more right there, that's for sure. That's awesome. So now, John, you've been a busy boy, man. You've been pumping out videos like one a week type of thing for the last quite a while, or around one a week, anyways. How, like you're doing this full time now? It's a full time gig for you, right?
Yeah. I'm usually doing about 2 videos a month lately, just because they've been longer videos, like 7 to 12 day trips. Yeah. So it's just there's so much more invested, and really as a YouTuber, it's probably a bad strategy. But the longer trips interest me more, so that's what I'm attracted to. But if I did 10 overnight trips, like that's a way better strategy for YouTube. But I just find it more fun to do that. But the edits are so much more invested, so that limits me to about 2 videos per month. But yeah, it takes probably, when I'm home, 80-hour weeks.
Wow.
But I don't know. I hesitate to call it work, because nurses working in a pandemic are doing work, and Ukrainian soldiers are doing work, and I'm having fun. So I don't want to call it work, but in terms of time, it is a massive requirement.
Yeah,
but I love it.
Now, with what you're doing, and you say 80-hour weeks, Steve Boblin's asking, what's your YouTube workflow? Do you do this all yourself, or is Aaron doing any of the editing or like helping, or it's all on you?
No, Aaron's never learned the editing software, and that's such a learning curve. Like I've done it the hard way. I've learned pretty much everything the hard way. I guess I'm stubborn, but I like to do it that way. So it's taken me a long time, but getting there, and I've loved learning it too. But no, I do everything myself, which is probably obvious. It's nothing professional, but it's so hard to hand anything off. You end up spending more time managing that than if you just did it yourself. And if you do it yourself, it'll be exactly how you want it. So yeah, that's a thing that Xander and I love this podcast for YouTube creators, Colin and Samir, and they talk about that all the time. When trying to divide and conquer with your business, because this thing becomes a beast. Like, honestly, it is hard to manage alone. Yeah, but Erin's got a full-time job and she's got a full life. Like, this is my thing. So I don't expect her to do anything, but yeah. Anyway, it takes a lot.
I think we're both.
You said there was a huge learning curve, and I'm going to pull in a lot of questions from the chat tonight, because there's a lot of interesting stuff coming through, and I'm already starring stuff to bring up later. But here's one that you're going to get asked a million times, so we'll ask both of you: what editing software do you guys use? Editing and thumbnail creation and stuff like that.
Adobe.
Yeah,
Premiere,
for editing,
and Photoshop, and Lightroom. Yeah.
I use DaVinci Resolve. Because it has a one studio, so that's the paid version, but it's a one-time fee of like $400 Canadian, versus Adobe, who do the subscription model, which is just obnoxiously expensive. But if you can make use of the entire set like Xander does, like with Photoshop and all that, then it can be totally worth it. But if you just want one piece of software, then it's kind of cost prohibitive, I find. And for thumbnails, a little embarrassing, but I use PowerPoint. I'm
really PowerPoint?
Very proficient with Microsoft Office, and I can't, honestly, I don't think it has to be that complicated. In fact, the less complicated, the better. I think if you look at massively successful YouTube channels, their thumbnails are very minimalistic, usually a bright colored background, a face doing some kind of relatable expression, and like an arrow with a couple of words.
Yeah.
So you can do that in PowerPoint, I assure you.
Yeah. No, that's pretty amazing because, you know, I'm a graphic designer by trade, right? I have a print shop and stuff like that. And when people come in and they bring in, like, you know, things that they want printed that they've done in PowerPoint or Microsoft Word or somehow on Microsoft Excel, I don't know how they can put graphics in there. And it's like, we can't use this. I'm sorry, but you're actually making it work for thumbnails and stuff. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. Now you're Xander, you're using you said Adobe Suite. Are you using that? What's their video editing software? That's
Premiere. I've been using that for a long time. Before, like I had a girlfriend, she was like in university at the time. Like this is years and years ago. So I signed up under her account, so I got it for really cheap, and then now I'm kind of stuck with it. But
edition, right? Yeah.
What do you edit with, Dennis?
I use Filmora 10.
Okay, yeah.
And of course, all my graphics are done using Illustrator or Photoshop. Mostly
Illustrator,
Photoshop.
right?
Yeah. Well, for vector work, right?
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
But yeah, and it's to me that's second nature to me. Like John saying, you know, his Microsoft Suite, it's his second nature to him. Sorry, I laugh at that. Just the graphic designer in me, right? So,
yeah.
But you know what? You're doing some good stuff because if you know, the way you're cropping stuff out and, you know, I don't know how you do it in that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Master of the trade. That's cool. That's all right. So I want to ask, okay. So like I say, not years ago, but a year and a bit ago, John, you obviously, now, do you remember I contacted you one time asking you for Xander's information? Cause I thought you knew him at that time, but you said, I don't know. I'm like, I think this is his email or something. Right. And that's how I get information for people. But did you ever have an inkling at that time that, hey man, I want to go canoeing with this guy, Xander. He's pretty cool.
I absolutely, I hope that I had a total man crush on Xander before we met, to be honest. And, I hoped it would happen. And, he was on this meteoric rise. So I wasn't sure if I'd be worthy of a meetup, but I'm really glad that we did. Like I invited Xander on their St. Raphael trip last year, which we were hoping to get Joe out on as well, but he couldn't make it in the end. So it ended up being just Xander and me, as opposed to the three of us. And it still worked out beautifully, obviously.
It was pretty cool, actually. Like 2020, I started getting into fishing, and I was looking up like how to fish in Ontario, and this guy was popping up as BAO, like Backcountry Angling Association. So I was learning to fish from John back in 2020 before I met him, and then come 2021, I started posting these winter camping videos, and he started commenting on them. And he was like the first like bigger name that was like commenting on my video. So I got all like hyped, and I was telling my brother, I was like, Max, like, do you know this guy Lost Lakes? Like, he's commenting on my videos, and he was consistently commenting on all my videos, and it was pretty cool. And then I made 2 and 2 that Lost Lakes was like the BAO, and that I learned how to fish from him. And next thing you know, we're doing St. Raph together, and that was great. Like we got along better than I could have imagined, you know. And unfortunately, now we're good friends.
On our trip with the guys last month and a half ago with Keenan and Max, Xander confided in me on our paddle in that I was one of his closest friends, and I said it back to him. So we're working on setting a wedding date.
It's official.
You had a moment. So Xander, you're talking about the fishing, and paddleheads here saying for John, after teaching Xander how to fish, does it hurt that he's still so bad?
Hey, wait until you watch my next video. This video I'm editing right now. Actually, no, you're gonna still think the same thing. Never mind. I take that back.
Xander, probably my favorite thing about Xander, he has a voracious appetite for knowledge and learning.
Yeah,
you know, for how big of a channel he has, like you would never know because he's so open to learning. And I'm no expert angler, that's for sure, but Xander is a sponge, and I love that.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm still a total noob though when it comes to anything, but I don't.
You're not. I mean, you're like going barbless and you're catching fish. Like now, there's
fair.
Yeah, people. I think you started out as a noob, and like that kind of will trickle down into over time. people kind of like keep that association of you, but it'll fade with time. You're like, it's not warranted anymore.
It doesn't matter. As long as people are entertained and enjoy the content, and I don't get like rude comments, and like occasionally, but most of the comments are like extremely positive, and it just doesn't bother me. Nobody's questioning my fishing abilities. So,
well, that's another great thing about you. You don't take yourself too seriously, and like I think Max said that on our trip together. He said it's one of your greatest strengths as a YouTuber is, you don't take yourself too seriously. So,
thanks, man.
Yeah. So like you two getting into doing like these collaboration videos, maybe we could talk a bit about, the power of doing collaboration videos, learning and feeding off of each other. You two obviously have a good rapport going on there, but you've also done, you mentioned last month you had on the trip, you had Xander's brother, Maxim, you had Keenan, you've done a trip with Brad from
Explore the Backcountry.
Yeah, Explore the Backcountry.
Yeah, he's in the chat.
But is he? I'm trying to go through everybody here. There's so many people in there. I have a hard time keeping up. But so like, what would you say? Like, the power of doing collaboration videos is. What's the allure there? Is there something that that you should be looking for before you just call somebody and say, "Hey, man, want to do a trip together?"
I think for us, I think solo camping trips actually play better. I think it's unlike other YouTubers where when they collaborate, there's like you gain subscribers from the other person's channel. I don't feel like that happens like super like a lot for us camping YouTubers. A lot of people want to see us out there alone because it's easier for us like interact with our audience. It's easier for us to film. And so I feel like these collaboration videos are more for us to be able to be with another person and enjoy it. And with somebody like John, who's like doing the exact same thing as I am, it's a lot easier to do that almost like a solo trip because we want to stop at the same times to film. We see like a beautiful scenario, we want to film it. So it's not like taking just like a totally different person where we might have to accommodate for their needs. It's like we both want to create like the best content possible at the same time. So we don't get in each other's way in that sense. So what am I trying to say here? It works out.
I know that one there.
I don't know what I'm trying to get to.
Face in front of the camera and back out again.
It's no. It is a lot easier. Like we understand each other on that level. I know what you're saying.
And with John too, people actually like John, so it's convenient to bring him along on my trips.
Yeah. So you guys are roughly the same age then, obviously, right?
Yeah,
I'm 2 or 3 years older, I think. Oh, and thanks for the birthday.
When's your birthday?
Dennis.
Yeah, when was your birthday? It was last week, right?
It was Thursday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Oh yeah. Where the hell was my happy birthday from you?
No, I didn't know you had a birthday.
Xander, I'll put you full screen. You can do your best Marilyn Monroe, Mr. President.
Okay.
But he knows what that means.
I'm just like, what am I doing here? I don't have my white dress or like, and I don't think you want to see that either. I have very hairy legs. Anyway, happy birthday, John.
Oh, thank you.
No, that's it's cool. Like I say, I've always said that through some of the other YouTubers that we all know, Alexis Outdoors and stuff like that, and like even like when the whole group, the Rat Pack, as Kevin and I call y'all, got together for that winter camping excursion that y'all did last year. It was really cool to see the perspectives of like John's. Well, John, you weren't at that event, but the perspectives of everybody's videos, and talking to people and stuff like that. It's really cool to see a bunch of different angles from different YouTube creators, right? So I love watching these collab videos myself. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. So you actually enjoy watching all the different angles? Because like I enjoy watching John's and my brother's. I'm excited to see Keenan's version of our trip together. But for like the audience, I've gotten a few people saying like, oh, it's just the same video, but there is like a difference. I know it's like the same things happen, but just the way it's like presented is much different. So you actually find it interesting.
Just the way it's conveyed. Like I'll give you an example. Right now I'm watching these guys from over in the UK. I think it's S04 Adventures. And then there's another one, I think Adventures Are Made. And these guys come over from the UK. They went to Algonquin Park, and they're doing like a 10-day trip there.
Cool.
And I'm watching both their series right now, and they're coming in at different angles, right? And it's amazing how how little they have of the other guys, but you see like little cameo appearances around the campfire and stuff like that, swimming or whatever. And it's really cool to catch the same video or the same trip from a couple of different perspectives. So, like I said, I enjoy it myself.
I caught that as well, and I was really impressed with how they adjusted to a different country. They came over from, I think they're all from England.
Yeah.
And to come over to Canada and go into Algonquin, where there are now bears and wolves, which they don't have there, as far as I know.
Yeah.
That would be rattling. Like I would be if I went to, I don't know, India and I was around tigers. I'd be scared. So there's not that sense of familiarity and comfort, and I thought they adjusted really well. So yeah.
Well, you are with a tiger every time you go out with Xander, aren't you? Hey, Tiger. So,
that's funny.
Your new nickname.
Thank you. I'll take it.
That's all right. So how did it come about, John? How did you mentioned that you invited Xander out on a trip there? How did that come about? What prompted you to reach out to Xander and say, let's do this trip?
Yeah,
he said, he's like, views are down. I need something to kickstart my channel. Please help me. I was like, all right, I'll help you out, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, that didn't pan out. Like Xander was saying, for some reason, well, actually, we know exactly why, but collaborations aren't a channel booster. Like that's just for us, because we are spending less time filming, or less focused on the filming and less engaged with the camera. We're more engaged with each other. Things that you would say to the camera, you're now saying to other people. So there's that. But we hit it off. I've said them 1,000 times. It's like boring to say it again, but I'm a loner and I really make very little social effort with anyone. So I would only do that if I felt like I would get along with someone, which I can only find out from YouTube. Like that's how I've met up with almost everyone I've met up with in videos, is because I've seen their channel. I feel like we would get along. So without that tool, I would never probably have met all these people. So yeah, I reached out and he was on board, he didn't hesitate at all. Like he said, okay, I'll let you know tomorrow. And he said, yeah, I'm in. He came and stayed at our place on the North Shore of Superior on the way up. And that was the first time we met in person, was when he stayed overnight at our house. And then we left the next morning.
Yeah, it's like surreal meeting somebody in person. Like, you watch somebody on YouTube and you feel like you know them, and you almost do, because I feel like a lot of people, especially in these types of videos, it's hard to like not be yourself. Like I do get to edit like, the parts where I'm like stumbling, or maybe like picking my butt, or like, picking my nose or something like that. I can cut that out, but you get the people in the raw sometimes. And meeting John, it was like, he was no different than what I expected. And it was quite surreal seeing him standing there and hugging and embracing him in the doorway when we first met. Underneath the,
like you say, yeah, sometimes you take on a bond, eh? Like some of the YouTubers I've met, at different shows like the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show and stuff like that. When you meet up with the person, you have a connection already, because you're both familiar with each other's work, so you're both on the same plane there as far as sharing an interest, a very common interest. And then it's like it's usually a bro hug or a hug or whatever, right?
Hey man, nice to meet you,
man. What's up?
So I seen somebody had a question. I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was in the chat going through here, but did either one of you for that first trip have an escape plan? If it was like, God, that Xander's an idiot, or God, that John's an idiot, right? Did either one of you have an escape plan?
Yes, that was planned for, actually. I said going into the trip, a couple of nights, let's just get our own campsite just so we have some like breathing room. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
But even when Joe was going to come on that trip, I think I had pitched that. Just because I know I need that, but I didn't end up needing it. And it's kind of a weird thing to request, but anyway, didn't need it.
No, it makes sense. And like, we have our own canoes, our own food. Like conflict is just the only time
our own food.
I was gonna say, sometimes you have your own food, right?
Yeah.
But that's huge.
Yeah.
John repaid me big. He gave me a whole bunch of like way more than he needed to of those like pre-made meals, and which are all gone now, John. So you need to restock me, please. But
well, it's kind of a good thing for that. Like on that video, it's a good thing you guys are both big eaters, because Xander, you like some of the food I see you pack away on these trips and like stuffing, like you got a plate full of food and then you're showing the last bite. Are you actually eating all that, or?
Oh yeah, yeah, man. This is not all of that. You got to see this fish that I eat in the next video. It's a big one. It's
wow.
Actually, we started eating as much fish as we could after I realized I'd forgotten my food.
Yeah.
And the second time we ate fish, we kept 2 brookies each. It was actually, I never thought I would be sick by like the taste of brook trout, but it was actually too much brook trout in one sitting, and I felt pretty gross.
John.
Yeah, that's if I ate like that, man, I wouldn't be putting out any content or doing any recording the next day, because I'd still be just floating in my hammock, and that would be it, man. Yeah, that's crazy. No, that wasn't a planned thing. Obviously, you actually did forget your food on that video.
100%.
No, that was a moment.
Yeah,
that was a real moment.
Yeah,
like,
I
forgot.
I can't stage anything.
Yeah.
No,
how close were you to
unless
actually pulling a U-turn on that trip and saying, you know, I got to go back. I got to get out.
It was pretty tempting.
Yeah.
But the stretch we had just come through is notoriously bad.
So bad.
It's
man.
like awful. Yeah, actually, we were only starting the awfulness. The first part of the Puxshaw River is awful.
Yeah.
Really awful travel, and that's why there was some fumbling there too in the canoe. I mean, I almost pinned my canoe right off the bat too, which was not a whitewater mistake actually, though I took the flack for it as though it was. But there was an article written in some online magazine about like 2 YouTubers bumble their way down a wilderness river. But anyway, what happened there was I was stepping out of the canoe to just wade the last little piece of this swift, basically, and my toe caught the gunnel as I was stepping out of the canoe, and that brought the gunnel down to the water level and instantly filled with water. So that wasn't even a whitewater mistake, but anyway.
Yeah, it happens fast, eh? It does happen
so fast.
Like that water is moving, and it's
so fast. Any moving water presents danger. New respect for it though, so that was valuable.
Well, I've been watching a lot of your whitewater stuff, and your skills are getting better. They are getting better, but I think you have the same issue as me. You're a tall guy, right?
Yeah.
What are you? 6'3"?
6'4". So is Xander.
Yeah. So you have a hard time like kneeling in a canoe and getting your feet underneath the gunnels or underneath the seat or something. That's the problem I have. I have flippers for feet, right? My wife always says I wear the box, not the shoes, but it's that's the problem I have, and these bones don't kneel canoe anymore, right? And I was wondering if that was the same issue with you.
100%.
Yeah,
but I've come to appreciate kneeling and understand how valuable it is now. But like Xander kneels pretty much all day,
the whole day, except for like small portions of
sitting. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, Evan LaFave's asking here, do either of you guys storyboard your videos? Do you go out there with a plan?
No.
Like maybe somewhat of a premise, but nowhere near a storyboard. Like I just did a trip last couple of weeks ago where I staged like a moose hunt, but I don't have a firearm, just a camera. So I'm hunting moose with my camera. That was my story, but like how it unfolds is like completely up in the air.
I've started to try to think of a thumbnail and a title before I get into it for certain videos. Like my next video, I had the title before I went and did it. It's called 50 Hours Under a Rock with No Food. Stay tuned.
50 hours under a rock with no food.
50 hours sleeping under a rock with no food. Something like that. Yeah.
That'll play.
Yeah. So, and then it's a good thumbnail, and then everything else is unscripted, so I hear like a lot of YouTubers, like they won't start to make a video until they have a title and a thumbnail, like an idea for one. And with like what we do, it's kind of hard when you're just like, I'm going to do the Steel River. It's going to be like 8 to 12 days. It's like, okay, maybe I get a shot of the waterfall there or the aurora, but or like the log jams, but it's like really hard to tell that whole, like you don't know. You just got to be really open-minded to like what happens and see it when it comes up, and just have an eye for it and always be thinking about it.
Exactly. That comes with practice, but
yeah.
You guys ever run into any like editing block or story, like you say you're not going out there with storyline, but like storyline block, like something that just that's what I'm suffering these days. I've got like 4 videos in the can just waiting to be edited, plus the finish of one of my series from last year, and I just total mental block on it. I don't know where to start. It's like I'm a newbie beginning again.
I can't keep videos in the bank for that reason. I have to have like 1 on the go, like max 2. And I've only done that just recently. Like in the past, I did this huge van trip with like an ex-girlfriend. That was a really cool trip, but I let it sit for too long. I tried too hard on each little video. Like I have to crank out videos, because then I'm like in there attached to it. And then I don't feel like that block. I just like push through it, and it like allows me to just like get it done. And then I'm like still focused on that before I get into the next one. Otherwise, like if I'm too many videos ahead, I have no passion for it. Like I don't. Yeah, I'm very moved on. It just
will stale there in the can, right? Yeah.
Yes, dude. Like then, like that's when I start thinking about maybe I need an editor, and then I can just pump out videos. But like you said, it's like hard to delegate that to other people. Actually, before we were talking about this is like a question. Like if you guys know any accountants, that's something that I'm definitely looking for. So I think John might be too. Yeah.
Didn't I message you last week?
You did. You asked me to help you with your account, and you got a question for me. So that's something I'm throwing out there to the audience. If anybody knows any accountants.
Well, my father-in-law
sent
along a contact. I haven't reached out yet because it's like it's the type of thing you put off forever, like going to the dentist or something. Like calling an accountant, but it's so important. I mean, strategizing for taxes is so important, and most of us just don't want to do that, but we end up costing ourselves tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over our lives. So sorry, go ahead. No, I've been watching some YouTube channels, and I might incorporate, for instance, to get a better tax rate. I might pay Erin a salary or pay into her RSP as a spousal RSP to like balance out our marginal tax rates. So anyway, I won't go any further, but
some people might wonder that, because you are making a living doing this, and you got I guess watch where you're going from. Everybody thinks it's just a free ride, but it's not a free ride, right?
No, it's a job.
And if there is a big recession next year, like they're saying, advertising is the first thing to go. So even if Xander and I had a good year, like there's not a lot of stability. I think we'll have enough to get by for sure, but next year could be a big hit for us. Like we just don't know. So trying to save your money while you can and like have a buffer is important when you're self-employed. And I don't know if we're even eligible for EI. I'm assuming we're not. Hey, Xander, we're not eligible for EI. Are you listening to me?
No, I was reading chat. Sorry, I gotta close this chat.
Yeah. Talking to me.
Sorry, John, you were saying something?
I can't even remember now. It must have been
unemployment insurance.
Employment insurance. Like
no, there's no way. I don't think so.
Yeah, so we can't get that.
No, I think that will be fine. I think that there'll still be enough like advertise. Like it's how big is this recession? You're thinking like
some people are saying it's gonna be
fires in the streets.
Pay your wife a bonus is not in salary.
Right. Yeah, I've looked into that, Venture Creek. Thank you. Or dividends. Yeah. Or a mix of both. If I'm incorporated. I got to talk to this tax consultant in Thunder Bay. But
I would certainly protect yourself for sure when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So now, John, you made a big step because you had a pretty steady job with what you were doing before, right? You were working for the ministry, or what was?
Briefly, I worked for the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry briefly in Peterborough after I went back to school for GIS. And then I got a job up here in forestry where I worked in GIS for 3 years. And yeah, I loved it. It was a good job. But I saw the finances coming along for doing this, and it became possible largely because it's so much cheaper to live up north. My mortgage is $250 a month. So yeah, that's like in Toronto, you're paying 10 times that for rent.
Yeah.
So that made it, or potentially, so that made it so much more justifiable. Or you can find a deal maybe, but like Xander, I think you have a pretty good setup, and like you're not like horribly rent poor, not at all. But yeah, a lot of people are in Toronto.
Yeah,
you got a good thing going.
See, I was talking about the financing stuff. CK Productions asking, do you discuss or worry about money or other worldly issues during your trips, especially when we do trips to relax and get away from the city? Yeah, because nowadays you never know. You go into the bush and you don't know what the hell you're going to come out to if you don't have communication going out, right?
Yeah, we were talking about that on the trip with the guys. We were saying how Keenan was in Wabakimi and he came out and the Queen had died. So yeah, it's interesting to see what happens when you're out there. But I wouldn't say it worries me. I would say I'm much more worried and anxious when I'm home and exposed to social media feeds, and out there much more at ease.
Right.
Personally.
There's a sick part of me that's always hoped for the zombie apocalypse. So part of me hopes that when I'm out in the woods, that kind of has transpired in my absence, but it hasn't.
You just want the content.
Well, he's all right because he can live 5 days under a rock without food. So it's
5 days, 50 hours, like 5 days. my little lights switched off, so I'm out of.
Oh, now you look terrible. We can see all your imperfections.
There we go. So Xander, tell the people. I know when you were on the show last time, you said you've done some modeling.
Oh God. Oh yeah, back in the day. I don't do that anymore because like so since like I was like 19 or something like that, like I've been doing modeling gigs here and there. It's always been like more or less a part-time job unless I went overseas. So I did travel to China and Japan a couple of times where I would work pretty frequently. And that gave me great opportunity to travel, and it was a lot of fun. It's never really been a big passion for me. It's definitely a cool opportunity, but I'm not like into high fashion as much as John is. I know John's a fashionista, a secret fashionista, but but yeah, no, it was a cool opportunity. I don't really do it anymore. Like I told my agency that like they try to book me for jobs in the middle of the week. Like, and if I'm trying to get out camping, it really interferes with that. And YouTube's always been what I wanted to do. And so now that I'm doing what I want to do, it's like that goes like that's on the back burner,
Yeah, I find that interesting that Xander, 10 years ago or whatever, had an idea of somebody doing this for a living. I never had that perspective. Like I never thought that would be a possibility. So Xander dreams big, and I'm like a lot more down to earth, or I dream small.
I think that's the only way I'm gonna like. John's the best storyteller out there. His channel is like hands down probably creating the best content right now. The only chance I have at competing with him is the fact that John's just like never gonna leave Ontario, and that he's permanently here. Whereas like I plan to maybe travel internationally a bit more and create content that way. So that's kind of like the only chance I really have.
That's embarrassingly generous and untrue, but what you said at the beginning. But yeah, I'm Ontario centric for sure. I have no plans to do anything else because it's so legit. Huh?
What if we do the blood vein and it ends up in Manitoba? Do you turn around?
I would consider crossing the border.
Okay,
but no, it's just like there are infinite tripping possibilities in Ontario. Like I could never do them all in my lifetime. And I guess I'd rather slice off a project I can kind of own at the end of my life, look back and just feel like I know Ontario like the back of my hand, hopefully, as opposed to going everywhere and trying to do everything and see everything. I'm obsessed with Ontario. I love it. And endless rivers, lakes,
That's extremely respectable. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
I
Ben,
don't think so. I think it's going to get boring for people to watch, but yeah.
How difficult is it to continually put out content and try and change it up from video to video? Like your video libraries are actually becoming quite large, right? So trying to find new ways to present, for lack of a different term, the same content. You know, paddle down the river, find a campsite, do some fishing, catch a fish, clean a fish, eat. You know what I mean? How difficult is it to try and tell a story and try and tell it different from video to video?
I would say it's a catch-22. Once you attract an audience based on doing something, anything else you try to do will be met with resistance, most likely. That sounds probably negative, but I found it to be very true. For instance, I'm like calm and serious, right? And I think people who watch the channel like me when I'm calm and serious for the most part, except for some people who are going to say you have no personality, you're boring, your voice is so monotone. But anytime I try to like be funny, or the video I did with the guys, the company I called it, and made it like this kind of fun superhero or army theme, I got a lot of dislike about that. So you try to do something different, but I can't make the same thing. Oh, thanks, Ann. But I can't do the same thing. I can't make the same thing I've been doing this for over 5 years, hundreds of videos. I can't make the same video all the time. So that's just it's gonna be what it is. But yeah, it can be hard to put a different spin on a camping trip at the same time, like you said. What do you think, Xander?
When I find all these different routes, like, well, a lot of canoe routes, some of them can be, no, they're all different. So the story kind of just comes from like what happens if the weather's different, you bring different food or different items, like different stories arise. I don't really go into these things with much of a plan, and I kind of wing it. And I've always been pretty decent at improvising. So I think that there's an infinite number of stories out there if you just, I don't know, have your eyes open and are listening for one. And I feel like a lot of people, like I'll watch like machining content, like people like machining parts, and it's just like, it's more or less the same thing. And people like that, I enjoy watching that stuff. Or people making dioramas, like, it's more or less the same thing. It's just like interesting to see the process, and it ends up slightly different each time. I think people will continue to enjoy this type of content.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, there's always going to be, new stories out there, and it's just, and new trips. Like I only have like 2 trips planned for the next like couple weeks, but I have like infinite faith that I'm gonna know the next trip when I need to have one. It's like it'll come, it'll be there.
Yeah, you're funny that way. Like you can. I've got a list of trips, super long, that I want to tackle, and you're like so in the moment.
Just completely, yeah. Not completely, but more or less.
That's a good problem to have, right? With trying to get out there and figure out how to tell your story, right? And like you said, Xander, everything that you do out there is different from trip to trip, different scenery and stuff. Now, both of you guys seem to get the money shot all the time with the freaking animals. Like, like, you know what I mean? You guys are all I don't know if you could attest it to your camera gear, or that you just hit the right timing. Like, I haven't seen a moose in like 7 years, right?
What?
I see bear all the time, but I don't see moose, right? But it seems like, there's another moose. There's another moose. There's another moose. And John, you were just saying in the green room beforehand. No, you tell everybody what you've seen, or are you saving it for a video?
No, I don't care. Aaron and I headed out for our first hot tent trip of the season this weekend, and on a drive in, we saw 2 bull mooses jousting with one another. It was amazing. Yeah. It was so sweet. Both. That's like a bucket list.
Footage of that, or
pardon me?
Did you get some good footage?
Yeah, with the 600mm lens. So
yeah. Like here's one right here. Beauty of the Backcountry saying that drone shot with the bears was fantastic. You just come over and there's these 3 bears running away. Right?
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Like I was looking, I was worried I was going to get flack for that, because it's illegal to harass. It's like considered a wildlife harassment to film animals and chase them with a drone. I had no idea they were there. If I had, I would have gotten out my 600 millimeter lens for sure. But yeah, I just flew over the little hill, and they were right there, really close. And I thought they were stumps at first. I was looking at my little screen, which was being hit by the sun, and I just saw like these black things. I thought they were old stumps, but yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool shot. It's National Geographic's moment right there. Yeah, for sure. What about you, Xander? Tell us about some of your best encounters with critters out there in the backcountry.
God.
Besides the guy beside you or up here.
I don't encounter that many animals. I'm pretty loud and unobservant and tend to be like clunky. And yeah, I'm not like John. When me and John were doing St. Raph, like he saw all the wildlife and he pointed them out to me. It's like, hey, look, Xander, here's a moose. Like, wow. But the craziest encounters on video from last year, I was doing some small little river and I come across this like log jam, and then all of a sudden I'm like with mama moose and the baby calf, and the baby calf is like trying to get out of the water and mama moose is just grunting at me. That was pretty cool. That was a pretty real situation that I was in. It's like, it's nice to observe wildlife. It's like from afar. It's like when you're like within, like when you're part of that, you know, like the situation with the wildlife, it's a little different. So it's kind of fun to flirt with it a bit, but it's also nice to like be safely back from it at the same time.
Yeah, our St. Raph trip was unreal for wildlife. We saw the woodland caribou at our campsite on the third morning. Yeah. 2 bears, 2 moose, and wolves howling near our campsite. It was amazing.
Oh man, when I was
my best wildlife trip.
When I was in Idaho, if you guys watched my Idaho video, unfortunately the sound cut out for that one clip. My buddy Clay, we like stumble across this big, it was like maybe a couple of years old bull moose in the middle of the path. And Clay puts up his bow as an antlers and starts grunting at this thing. And as opposed to it like running away, it like turns around, starts like looking at us. It's like, what's going on here? My buddy Clay is like imitating like being a moose, making these moose calls. It was one of the coolest encounters with a moose I've ever experienced. Unfortunately, the audio is gone, but his moose imitation was on point, and I don't know, a little dangerous because it was like kind of nearing the rut, and apparently those things can get pretty vicious. So
yeah, are they still in the rut right now? Is it?
Depends where, I guess.
Yeah, but I would say generally, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I would treat them with the respect as though they are, I would err on the side of caution.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, your one video last year there, you had a pretty scary encounter there with the bull moose crossing the river right behind your campsite and stuff like that. Yeah. That'd be enough to leave a pile in your shorts, right?
My knees were shaking.
Yeah. You could tell you sounded very shook up when that was actually happening.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, Xander, question for you.
Yes.
When you first jumped into the YouTube scene, how much of an outdoorsman were you really at that time? Were you like pretty green, just cutting your teeth at it, or were you fairly experienced with backcountry?
I've been doing I've done camping my whole life, but I was doing like a camping trip like once every 2 years. I did the Missinaba back in like 2009 or 2008 with my brother and 2 of our friends, and I could I knew I could always like go out with friends and organize it and plan for it. I knew how to canoe. I knew how to camp. I could like do backpacking trips. Fairly green. Yeah, fairly green. Not like I wasn't doing as much camping as maybe I should have before I started filming. I'm just going to start filming adventures. Like I always wanted to film any kind of adventure, and the opportunity was here to film camping adventures, and I was all for it. And I just got right into it, and I learned a lot as I went. And that's something like I'm the first to admit that. Like I'm like I don't know everything. I don't know even that much, but I'm just gonna try my best, and I just want to make good content. And I couldn't be happier, to be honest. Like when something's right under your nose, you kind of just like when something's right in your backyard, you kind of take it for granted. I used to kind of feel that way about Ontario. I'm like, yeah, sure, it's right here, But it's like the opportunity to camp and the nature here is just so superb that it was like I was blind to it. And then getting into it, it was like, oh wow, like this is world class. And I couldn't be more grateful that I have this opportunity. So I'm taking it. And here I am.
Yeah, and so now along this journey, where do you think was the video that really launched your? And I'm going to say your successful YouTube channel, because I don't know what the count is right now. People, is anybody?
I just checked. He's not quite there.
Not quite there, eh? He's approaching his 500,000 subscriber mark.
Oh, so yeah, 885 more. 85 more subs.
Go sub to Xander, folks. He's just about at 500K.
You're not already subscribed, We
Budnick.
We might hit 500,000 subs tonight.
Yeah. So what do you think is the one that really launched? I know, was it the one with the? Well, I'll let you tell it.
It was a winter camping video from 2020 where my brother Max actually invited me to go hot hunting with him, and I filmed it. All my cameras died. The batteries like didn't hold up in the cold. I used my phone to film most of it. It's only like a 6 or 8 minute video, but that video got a couple 100,000 views in a few months. And I'm like, this is it. This is what I need to do, because I've tried so many other types of like adventure videos. I've done like hiking videos. I did like a van trip, other types of videos throughout the past, like trying to generate any kind of momentum, any kind of interest on YouTube, and nothing stuck. But this winter camping video did. And I was like, man, like this opportunity is like right under my nose. We have all this beautiful nature here in Ontario. Like I need to use it. And that was the video that got me interested in like the backcountry camping and creating this type of content. And like I said, I was like totally blind to it, and it was like right there the whole time. And then going back like from like my first video on YouTube is a backcountry canoeing video. So it's funny that it took me 10 years to come back to exactly what I started off with, right? Like where the hell was I this whole time? Like it was right there. So it's kind of cool, kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's funny, because that was kind of me too. I way back 2013 put a couple of videos out and then just sort of left the platform. Right, it was like, it's too much work, right? And then for whatever reason, one day I go, I got to do a video of this, and before you knew it, here I am hooked 4 or 5 years later, right? So,
well, it's great, man. You fill this awesome role. You know, we all appreciate you.
Yeah. Everyone, Dennis mentioned it, but he's got buy me a coffee links for some new gear for his show. And I know a lot of us enjoy his show. So go buy him some new gear.
That's you know what? It's never expected. I put it out there just that day that happened. I was pissed. I was so pissed. Eh?
Oh.
It's one of those things. It's like, man, I'm gonna give this up, eh? But yeah, neither here nor there. This show is about you guys tonight, so this is So now, same question for you, John. When did you? I started following you years ago. When I was looking up stuff about a place I go to all the time, Wickstead Lake, and you happen to have a video, and I said, this guy's pretty cool. I gotta follow his stuff, right? Where was your mark where you started getting a good push and you started seeing some real growth with your channel?
Yeah, I would say complete opposite of Xander. It's been like a slow grind for me, like just a slow and steady. The last year has been good and better than the past, and winter camping has been a huge part of that. It's how a lot of people find the channel. Some of the videos that have taken off the most of them are winter camping. So extreme cold. Like if we do anything minus 25, minus 35 in that range, those tend to, there's like a novelty factor there, I guess, and people like that. But no, it's been pretty slow and steady.
Yeah. See, we were talking earlier about your video there. John's army video was awesome. Love the variety. Keep doing it, John. Keep doing it.
Yeah, I agree, man. You need that.
Yeah. Okay, boys, it's 8 o'clock. I'm just going to take a really quick break, acknowledge some of my channel sponsors here, and then we'll get back with a couple of viewers that we have in the basement here. So there's a good opportunity for you to refresh a drink or maybe get rid of a drink. So I'll see you fellas in a brief moment here.
Sounds good.
There's nothing like being out there. For over 50 years, we've been connecting people with nature by building classic Canadian canoe designs using the best materials available. We built a reputation on durable, dependable canoes that allow you to focus on what's important, whether that's unplugging in remote wilderness, spending quality time with your favorite people, or nailing the perfect line. Visit novacraft.com to find the perfect canoe for you and locate your nearest authorized dealer.
Tonight's episode of Canoe Hounds Outdoor Adventure Show is brought to you by OTG Meals. Fresh, freeze-dried, small batch meals made for people on the go. Algonquin Outfitters, with 4 key locations in and around Algonquin Park to serve your backcountry needs. Kid Products, stick stoves and reflector ovens proudly made in Canada. And Novacraft Canoes, connecting you with nature in Canadian-made canoes since 1970. Well, welcome back. Hopefully everybody stuck around. You know what? This is part 2 of the show, which I like to call Overtime. Before we get into overtime, I just want to go over my OTG meal of the week. If you were here at the head of the show, you had heard maybe that OTG Meals is having a great sale here. Going to be starting in a couple of days, so keep an eye at otgmeals.ca. Great opportunity to stock up on some freeze-dried meals. And I just want to let you know what my OTG meal of the week is this week is the Thai coconut chicken with rice. It's a hearty meal. It's a little bit sweet, a little bit spicy. It's got all kinds of chicken in it, rice noodles, just a really hearty dish to eat in the backcountry. So if Thai food is your thing, you know what? Give them a check. Check them out there at otgmeals.ca. You'll find their link to their website is in the description below, as well as many other links that you might want to check out. With that being said, let's get back into talking to our guests from tonight's show. Once again, we have John. Once again, we have Xander. And boys, we have a couple of guests in the basement there that I should bring up and say hello to as well, because they've been sitting down there for a little bit. Firstly, we got Keenan from...
Hey!
What's going on, boys?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. We got Maxim from...
Hey,
the company.
So funny. Look at that.
Look at that. We have a reunion of sorts going on here, eh?
Love it. That's so funny.
Maxim Keenan, thanks for popping in, man. I put the invite out to you guys because I thought we'd talk a little bit about the little excursion that you guys did there last month. Keenan, you looked really uncomfortable dragging your canoe around, your newer canoe.
Oh, no, not at all.
Not at all?
No, it's a Royal X or it's a T-Form X, I guess. No, you can beat the heck out of that thing. No, I'm okay.
That's all right. So I got to ask you, you and Ashley got married in the summer. How's married life treating you?
Pretty much the exact same as unmarried life, I got to say. She's kind of laughing here in the background. No, it's all good. I love it. We had I actually, I don't want to say I didn't want to get married, but I didn't want, I know that sounds terrible, but I didn't want the big, I didn't want a big day. I didn't want like a big, 100 people event kind of thing. And it turned out to be an amazing day. It was super small, super intimate. And yeah, I loved every minute of it. So it's been great.
Got yourself a good woman there. Maxim, how you doing, man? Nice to virtually meet you for the first time, I think,
nice
here.
To meet you too, Dennis. How you doing?
Yeah. So you're the younger or older brother?
I'm the older one.
Oh, so you got some stories on Xander, eh?
I got some dirt, but another time.
Good stuff. Well, you know what? You're I've been watching a lot of your content too. You got some
thank you.
Stuff coming down the pipe there.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yep.
Tell me where you slept the other day.
Oh, I slept in a cave last night. Not last night, the night before. It was like this perfect little cave I found right beside a river, and there was like a waterfall in the background. I couldn't have found a better spot. It was amazing. But
and whereabouts is that?
It was some crown land, west
Lake
of
Nunnia. Lake Nunnia.
Yeah.
None of your business. A little bit of that.
I learned that from you, Dennis. Like on our first thing together.
That was good.
Yeah. Kevin Callan's into that too sometimes, but he always gives up. He always gives up his bag of rice at the end. So
fair.
Yeah, that's cool. So you guys just had a really cool excursion. Obviously, I would expect Jon and Xander into the mix, and of course maybe Maxim. But Keenan, I was really not expecting you to be on a trip with these guys. How did that come about that you were part of this foursome?
Honestly, truthfully, I really don't know. It was I think maybe Jon invited me. I'd messaged Jon earlier and asked him if he'd want to go on another trip, and things couldn't work out. But at the end of the day, I got invited on this one, and it worked out. It was kind of a stretch for me to get the time off work, but at the end of the day, I was able to get it off, and I thought it'd be a cool opportunity to meet these guys. So definitely worthwhile.
Yeah. Now, did I catch that right earlier? You were already kind of up in the area. Is that were you up in Kimi or no? Okay.
No, I wasn't.
No, that was earlier.
That was earlier. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Earlier, I was up there. Yeah,
a couple weeks earlier.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because you're Keenan. You're more local to me than you are to the boys here. Obviously, we're both Niagara boys. You're still down to St.
Right now, right now
in Niagara. You're still in Niagara, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's cool. So, what were your expectations going into paddling with Xander and Jon? And Maxim, of course.
I honestly had no idea. I kept saying to Ashley, I said, I don't really know what to expect. I said, I just go in with an open mind, have fun, see what happens, right? It's only at the worst case, it's, I don't know, what was it, 5 or 6 nights we spent? 5 nights, I guess. Like, if it's a terrible 5 nights, like, I guess it's 5 nights, right? But it is what it is. And as it turns out, and I was listening to you guys earlier here, like, what I thought you guys would all be like was pretty much exactly what you were like in person. Like, it really did feel like you kind of knew the person. Yeah. Like, it felt weird seeing everybody in person, but other than that, I really didn't feel like a whole lot felt that weird or uncomfortable. Like, there wasn't really any big awkward moment or like, oh, I can't believe this guy's like this or doing that. Like, it was all very, like, I don't want to say it was boring, because it wasn't a boring trip, but it was as far as group interaction, it was pretty
uneventful.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Except for the birch bark.
Yeah, well, the birch bark got away. Yeah, I wasn't gonna go there. I wasn't.
Yeah, that's amazing. When you get out into the backcountry like that, whether you know a person or not, it's just like meeting a person that you meet on a portage trail. It's all friendly. There's no reason to be hostile or anything like that, right? It's everybody's out there for the same love and passion, so it's a good thing. How about yourself, Maxim? Now, obviously, you got the connection with your brother. Was it Xander that invited you out on this adventure? Or
well, there's a funny story to this, because about a month and a half earlier, I said to Xander, I was actually watching Brad's videos, because Brad was the one who put the Quirk whiskey loop out and made it to my attention. And I was saying, like, Xander, let's do this trip. It was like late August. And Xander was like, yeah, sure. Like, I'm going to do it. And then Xander texts Jon, be like, I'm going to do this trip with my brother. And then Jon's like, Xander, you idiot. Like, we're doing this trip together.
I just sent him the route.
I already told Jon that while we were doing that trip. I looked at the map briefly. I was like, no excuse. It was pretty funny.
And so yeah,
we did a different loop.
That they had, I guess, it just worked out that eventually just kind of joining trips made sense. And so, I don't. This was Jon and Xander planning it, so yeah, they just said it just makes sense, and Keenan and I got thrown in the mix. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, where are you located geographically? Like, I don't want to know exactly the area, but are you like Toronto area, like Xander?
Yeah. I'm in Toronto.
Okay.
For better or for worse.
Yeah. So now that's the one thing I was gonna ask Xander and John. Like you guys are hours and hours apart. Like John, you're up around Marathon. Xander's in the Toronto area. Like there's quite a distance there between you. Do you try to find places to trip together that are more centrally located, or Xander, are you just like, hell with it, man? I'm driving way up to Timbuktu. I don't give a
I like to drive. I like being on the road. I'll drive up north if John has a cool route. Like the puck just sounded like I wasn't turning down doing the puck this year, or even meeting him to do St. Raph. Like I'll drive. It's not a big deal. So no, like I'll drive. I enjoy it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And have you been down this way for any trips, John, with Xander, or like But I guess you wouldn't want to go any lower than maybe Wickstead or something, right? But
I say
yeah. I mean, usually, at Ice Out we did QE2W, but mostly they've been in the middle around like Highway 144 Sudbury, or he's come all the way up just because there's some cool trips up here and he doesn't mind the drive. But
yeah, that's the area I've been frequenting there. I love that area, 144 up 517, or around El Goma and stuff like that. Nice area up there, man. There's so many opportunities to paddle up there. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Question here from our good friend Kevin Callan. We'll throw a little humor into the show. Of the Rat Pack, who's the best underwear model at camp?
John, for sure.
Says the two models. Yeah, right. These guys are annoyingly like good looking and fit. So yeah.
Speak for yourself.
I'm definitely the last.
We can let the brothers bash that one out.
Yeah. Well, Keenan and I will step out.
Yeah, like I'm all right.
Keenan's got the coolest job though. Keenan's like out working. I think I so enjoyed learning about Keenan's job while like what a cool job. Like he's a lineman, and what a cool thing to do. It's working up high with electricity like that. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I do. Thanks, Max. I love my job. Yeah, I really do. Like, yeah, 99% of the time, really love what I do. So
yeah, really loved enjoying like hearing about it. It was really cool.
Well, we're always looking for good apprentices, Max. Hit me up.
Yeah, everybody's looking for workers right now. So
yeah.
All right.
No, I might take him up on something like that until I get zapped for the first time, and then it's like, no. That's all right. So you guys obviously out there, you had a chemistry. What happens when the cameras go down? A lot of times when you're videotaping and you got the camera on each other or maybe on yourself, like I said earlier, you get the Xander popping in and doing this or whatever. What happened?
I didn't know he was going to post any of that stuff, to be honest. Like,
Conversations
like these are gifts for John.
We don't talk to each other after that. We just don't even. Camera turns off. We just
start looking at our phones. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's easy to get along with everybody when you're not talking to each other, right? So it's
well, you brought
in all seriousness, no. Like what are the conversations like around the fire? Is it just getting to know each other? Questions about each other's families or what?
Yeah, like what's your favorite color? Like what types of food you like? What types of music?
We talked about filming a lot. Actually, I've never camped with a group who was so into filming. Like all four of us love filming and like really passionate about it. So that was really cool.
I learned
about that all day.
Yeah, I learned a lot personally. It was nice for me to, through osmosis, learn from these other three guys.
Max, I thought it was pretty cool when Max was taking his night photography stuff, his long stuff.
Yeah,
I and simply just because it wasn't, I feel like it was like just a few months ago that I did my first like long exposure shot and kind of had that first like, holy Christ, like that's what it looks like. It was cool to see. It was really
cool. It was a revelation in the sense that like the camera that I had, I just thought it wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah,
right? I just thought that like no way I'd because it shoots like, if as soon as it gets around like just past dusk, like the ISO is like 20,000, 12,000. It's so grainy. It's just so crap. I never thought that I could get a somewhat clear picture of like image of the sky.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. So I mean, what a beautiful night too.
Oh man, yeah, perfect.
Such a gorgeous night that we had.
Yeah, it was a wonderful way to end it. After all that rain, that was a pretty good trip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what's out of that trip? What would you say? Yeah, and I'm sure each one of you are probably going to have pretty close to the same answer. One opportunity that you guys laughed your asses off at something that happened. Was there anything like that, or like?
I mean, Xander drooled on me.
I remember seeing that.
Xander also drooled in the back of my video too. He drooled twice. I never knew it was such like a thing he does. He drools all the time. I never knew.
There you go, ladies. Xander is very moist.
Yeah, exactly. You said
I had a deep belly laugh after like I caught the only fish, and I just laughed at these mortals.
Can't believe that. I mean, you were the only one who like.
Too.
So, I mean, none of us really fish, so that was kind of inevitable. But
yeah, we were all trolling a little bit one day, but yeah, that's true. We were.
I'm kidding. You earned it.
I just want to put this out to everybody in the chat there. I just posted a link here. I'm going to invite a couple of you up on the panel. I do have a couple rules for this one here, just because I want to try and get as many people in to ask a question to the panel tonight. Please, one question, keep it brief, minute or two, and that way we can try and get it through as many people as possible. So if anybody would like to join into the chat, I put the StreamYard link up there. Please do so. And let's keep it PG friendly, or at least PG friendlier than these guys. So we'll see if we get any takers tonight. We still got 256 people in the chat, and that's a good thing. So certainly we got to get a few brave people up here. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see here. Future. Any future plans for you guys to get out? Like Jon and Xander, I think it's pretty obvious, but are we getting together again anytime soon? Maybe a winter camping excursion, or?
Definitely will at some point.
Yeah.
But it's harder. Like Keenan works full time. Max works. I'm not sure. Full time.
Do you even work, Max?
He's a consultant.
I'm gonna let you I'm gonna take that as serious. Do I work? Do I not work? What do I do? For me personally, I got a bunch of ideas, and I always just try to work with the weather. I don't have a lot of I have long-term plans that I mean like long trips that I'm thinking about. But realistically, I always I go on a week-to-week basis. Like, oh, this trip will work with this weather. Like if the wind's going from west to east on Thursday and then east to west on Saturday, I'll use that as best as I can. I'm like, oh, this trip works best with this like time frame that I have here. I always have a rough, like I wing it. Like a month and a half from now might as well be like a year from now for me.
He's slightly better than me. Slightly better than me.
Slightly better. I'm slightly better than Xander. Definitely not up to John's standard.
I was well, when you were saying that, Max, I going on that trip with you guys, especially John seemed very you knew what the wind direction was going to be. Like it seemed very, very planned, which was interesting for me because and I remember going to Quatico, and the park lady there, she was kind of talking the same thing. Like, well, if you go this way on this day, you'll have the wind with you here. And it was just interesting. It's just a different way of planning trips. And it's smart. It definitely makes it a heck of a lot easier, but yeah, just a different practice.
Yeah. Some people live in the moment, and some people are stuck in the future. It's terrible. But also, just physically, I kind of have to, like, camping a third of the year.
Yeah.
You have to try and use the wind to your advantage because I'm pretty beaten down sometimes physically. So yeah, just trying to minimize wear and tear because
it was cool.
It's gonna be hard to do this forever.
Yeah. I want to throw a question up here that popped up a little while ago, and this is going to Maxim. Anna's asking, Max, what made you decide to get a channel? Was it Xander Budnick or Xander Bro?
Yeah, well, definitely Xander had a huge part. I mean, enormous part to play in it. I mean, I have been watching outdoor content for a long time. And that had a lot, like, I'm an outdoorsy person, but I've lived in a city just due to work for the last like decade basically, and not always like my first choice. Like I lived in New York City, and I remember watching Joe Rogan a ton back in like 2015, and it was such a relief to me. And then I never thought seriously of it, like that was something I would do, but I'm a creative person, and I saw Xander's whole experience where he just sort of, he blew up, but also like he was doing these edits and he would ask me like, what about this? And what about that? And I would, you know, I saw the creative potential for it. And I saw that like Xander's putting out like almost little pieces of art. Do you know what I mean? He's putting out these like little, like, it's just capturing these moments, and there's so much, it's just like this like little creative memory. And I also saw that he's making a living out of it. It's like, holy crap. Like that for me, that was never even like, I never even thought about that. So, yeah, you know, and Xander's also been bothering me about it for a while. It took me a while to sort of like get my act together. And yeah, it was, I should have done it about 3 years earlier. Or 2 years earlier, but such is life. But yeah, that's a roundabout way of just saying how I started. It's just, I love creating things, and I love being outdoors. So it's, yeah.
So wait, you didn't answer your question.
You're fairly new on the YouTube scene. Do you see your channel maybe progressing along to a point where maybe you would want to take it on as a career as well, or?
Oh, if I had the opportunity to like do a John or what Xander's doing, for sure. I mean, I would not lie about that, you know. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, until that's a possibility. But like, I never even knew that was even in like, I never even knew YouTubing was a career until I saw Xander just blow up, and it's like, holy crap. Like, and it's also just like the whole, like I said, I'm a musician. Like I just love, if I'm not being creative, like I'm nihilistic. Like I just need to create, like I just need to make stuff, or else it doesn't sit right with me. Do you know what I mean? I just need to constantly be producing something, and it just kind of felt right. And it just, I don't know. It made sense for me.
Yeah. Well, you play the cards if they're dealt right, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple people in the basement. I'll bring up one at a time here. We'll start with Mr. Kevin Callan. Hey, welcome back from abroad.
I know. I've been around.
Yes.
I've been modding underwear all around the world.
Oh, your canoe hound underwear?
Impressive.
Yeah.
Actually, I did bring my canoe hound underwear to Wales, and I needed it. I needed it because when I paddled the ocean, the strait there, Menaias Strait, whatever, with the tides changing, I pooped my pants. That's scary as hell. I will never do that again. Holy living!
Well, that was that high bridge, water bridge thingy?
No, the water bridge was fine. Looking down, and if you lean over to your left and you might die, that's fine. That's fine. But to go into a tidal strait and then find out that you missed the tide and the tide's coming back to you, and you got class 3 rapids, and you have to ferry upstream up these rapids, and then the head coach of the UK, Ray Goodwin, goes, "No, not good, Kevin. Not good." I was like, "Oh yeah, we're all going to die now. This is great. I'm so glad I visited your country. I want to go home now." Yeah, no, it was fun. It was really cool, actually. It was really cool to see other paddlers. They're so talented. Like they are. If you go to the UK, they practice, They're really good at what they do. But then I got up on the stage and I said, okay, so I went on this trip and I didn't see anybody for 28 days. And they're like, what? They can't fathom that at all. So we got one up from them. They know more about paddling, but they don't know how to be, John being alone in the wilderness.
I've noticed that in the UK, they seem to really train to paddle.
Well, every single moment, yeah. And they're really good at it. Like very technical. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they actually live in dry suits. Like they wake up in the morning in a dry suit and have a cup of tea. Right? And
God, I hate dry suits.
It's like wearing a condom all the time. Like it's not good. It's not good. So I was very, I wanted to go home. So
at what point do they just take it off in frustration?
Because Kevin doesn't wear condoms.
This is where I'm going to stop.
It's kind of dangerous to me.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. Yeah, always be protected, everybody. Oh man, I had two questions for you, and a lot of people want to go on, so I'm going to make this quick for you. One was actually a mundane question, but I really want to ask you, so let's do this quick. Of all the routes that you've done, if you guys were the Rat Pack again and you want to do another trip you've done before, what would you do? And that's kind of a stupid question, but I really want the answer.
Do the East Puck down to Michipicoten in the end
with the entire group.
That'd be crazy. I don't know. Like,
oh my God, that would be a shit show.
It would be a shit show, but
just
or Blood Vein would be cool. That's like definitely been on my radar this year. Been thinking about that one.
Yeah,
it's a great trip. Yeah,
the East Puck to Michipicoten is obviously a little bit like it's like a stretch. Probably not.
Yeah, with the crowd, I feel like that would be absolute chaos.
It'd be fun to do like that shore of Lake Superior, though.
I do it with this group here, but
yeah. Oh, the crowd. Oh, I thought it was talking us four.
Oh no, I am talking about just you four. Like,
what are you talking about, John?
I went off on tangent about the Rat Pack because that's the winter thing and nobody really understands. And I just went off on tangent with the Rat Pack and yes, just you guys. Oh no, you guys that just did the. Who else am I missing? Who would do that trip? In Elliott Lake. Just you guys, right?
That was the four of us.
Yeah. Well, except your egos, but. I'm just joking, guys. That's the second question. So, and that's more important, I think. What is that like to be on a trip and filming everybody? Was that a negative at times, or was that a positive, or was it a mix? Because to me, I love all your channels. I love everybody. And actually, the older brother, like he beat you, man. Xander, you're a piece of crap. The older brother is far better. I swear. I'm just joking. So
it's all right.
No, I'm so I have 3 older sisters, so this is why I'm throwing this at you. But what's really cool is that you guys did that, and I was waiting for everybody's view, right? And actually, to be quite honest, I really like John's view. Christine sort of said, "Well, that's kind of weird," but I thought John's humor was really cool. Like, here's the boys, and I kind of like that. And I think we all enjoyed all the differences. What was it like physically, though, and emotionally, to do that together? Was it like, if you get in my shot once again, I'm going to kill you? Xander, if you eat one more, like whatever you're eating, like how much can you put in your stomach? Like, really, what's your problem? And then Keenan, like nobody even paid attention to you whatsoever. You were in the far back.
I'll start and say that going on the trip with other people filming and being YouTubers, like that was the trip for me. Like it was just to kind of see how it all went. That'll probably be my take on the video whenever that does come out. But like it wasn't an issue at all. It was what it was. There was 4 cameras under the tarp when it was raining, and yeah, it honestly, you would think it would be a huge pain and a big issue. It was just very like nonchalant. It was like no big deal, truthfully. Yeah.
I think the fact that you're all shooting video too, it makes it that much more easy, right? Like when I go on a trip and I'm the only guy shooting video, I feel like I'm intruding on everybody else's.
Yeah, definitely.
Parade, I guess you could say, right? But if I was going and I was out there with you know, a couple other guys, or you know, Kevin, and we're having like the dual shooting our videos back at each other or something, it's a little different there because you're both there for the same type of task, right?
Yeah, with two vloggers, like if it's just Xander and me, then we'll try and keep tripods and stuff out of shots. But with 4 people, it was just like, there's no point. Don't even try. That's like part of what we're capturing here.
Mm-hmm.
It feels a little lame. I had to like get over it at first, you know, shooting the other tripods and stuff. I just felt like I felt a little silly with 4 canoes, with everybody with tripods and, you know, like all gear. And like I for me, even like just having other people see me on a lake when I have like a tripod like pointed back at me, it feels sort of like narcissistic. And you know, and having like 4 people like with like cameras pointed all, you know, back at them or in different angles, it took a second for me just like get used to, but it's, you know, it's kind of hilarious.
So whose idea was the mist shot when all of you guys went off into the mist at the end there? Whose idea was, we got to get the shot, stop everything right now, we got to get the cameras out?
Was it Max?
Paddlers at the same time.
I definitely said like we need to get a shot. But I felt it was just kind of obvious, you know, like it was.
Well, I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you'd done another shot even before, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
that's right.
See, I told you, Xander. Like the older brother is far better. Like what the hell? You know what? I don't even know why we were born.
I know he's got that big brain. He's got so many folds in his brain. Mine is just a smooth brain.
Yeah, you know, I'm done after this. Sorry, Dennis, but I think it's really interesting where we can argue back and forth about which is the best channel, but we watch all channels because everybody gets something out of everything, right? Like Xander, you have that charisma, you have that zeal. John, you have that sort of artistic thing that actually you're getting back to. I didn't think is fantastic. Keenan, like you got the 2 dogs, they're freaking amazing, and you have a gorgeous, you know, a canoe paddler that these guys, you know, like really, like my God. But I'm sorry, I'm going off tangent. But what's really
Callan always gets out of control.
But what's really kind of cool is that we all enjoy everything you do, but. Is it different doing it all together, or would you, on your next trip, would you rather do it just yourself?
Definitely both.
Yeah,
I think
like
that
go back and forth.
I was going to say that it's definitely like for me personally, I love going with the other guys. It's questionable whether, like, from a YouTube perspective, whether it's better. I mean, for me, it's definitely better. For these guys, for like Jon and Xander, they don't gain anything like from the point of view of like making content. I gain something because I'm just like a little minnow, right? So so you know, for me, like, you know, if I go Xander, like, you know, more people will see me, and that's nice. You know, it's not what I'm trying to do, but the main thing is like either like in general, it was already touched on. Solo kind of generally works better, but if it personally, it's nice to go with other people and just kind of every time.
It's kind of cool. Okay, that's fantastic. Thanks. And by the way, Minnow, the last visual you did along the cloche.
Oh
yeah. You're a freaking you're a brook trout. You're not a minnow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well said.
Little brookie.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Hey,
Kevin, after party. Just remember that. Kevin, after party.
I'm a very busy man.
Okay. Go take care of it later.
See you there.
Leave it to Callan to shake things up, right? Let's see here. We got somebody else in the basement, but before we bring him up, I was going to ask. So, when you're all out there shooting, is there ever any opportunity where you felt like your video shooting was holding the group up?
No, we stagger. Like on the first day that we were dragging through the river. Like Max went way ahead, Keenan and John were behind. I was kind of in the middle, And when you're like filming, you're not going 30 kilometers in a day. You're probably going 25, 20. And like your mission is to capture content. And that in itself is like an adventure in itself.
Keenan's got it right. 5K on the first.
Yeah, about 5.
Is that how much we did?
Yeah. 1, 2 on the first day, and then 4 or 5 on the second.
Right.
On the third.
Yeah. You're filming, right? So, and we're all filming ourselves. So if we were traveling with other people who weren't into filming, we'd probably be stepping on their toes. But with one another, it's like we understand what each other's doing, so we're completely like open to that. If somebody's talking and you want a quiet shot, you just say quiet on set, or can you be quiet, please, or shut the F up, or you just like, rocks sometimes help. But but no, it's a non-issue. Everybody's very communicative and great.
Has anybody ruined anybody else's shot with the accidental F-bomb coming out or something like that? It's like, oh man, you just ruined a good shot.
Definitely. I did a real boo-boo on a couple of trips ago with Xander and me. We did the Mississauga River in the Kawarthas.
Oh yeah.
And like it was just like this really awesome shoot with like low consequence, but it looks really awesome. And Xander got this awesome shot of me, and I got a bunch of good footage. And then Xander told me, is like he set up his camera, and then he's like, oh, here, give me a cell phone to take a shot with the cell phone as well. But I didn't have the wherewithal to get out of his other shot, right? Like the important shot in his camera. So as he goes down the shoot, but I'm sitting there like a tourist in a shot with my camera.
Yeah, he's standing in front of my big camera shot, like filming with his camera, like with the cell phone, looking like a tourist.
That was a bad. I felt bad about it. Xander hated me for a day.
Yeah,
it was all good.
Yeah,
but Xander's kind of done that to me. Not as bad. That was the worst one so far. But
there'll be more. There'll be more. Lost footage is the most painful feeling. Like when you come back and your GoPro's been corrupted or the audio is missing, there's nothing worse than that feeling, or losing footage is the worst pains that I feel. Anyways. Cool. Yeah.
Oh, we got another person in the basement here I'd like to bring up. He's been waiting patiently, and he'll look familiar to most of you. This is Mr. Brad Jennings.
Hey boys, how's it going?
Look at that mustache. Look at you. Good looking lad right there.
Yo, this guy looks more like not Laney McDonald, Gordon Lightfoot. Every day.
Young Gordon Lightfoot.
Wow.
How you doing, Brad?
Good to see all you guys. It's been a
Brad.
while. Yeah, guys are all looking sharp. So what now?
How was your trip out west?
Oh, it was fantastic. I'm actually kind of working on that edit in the background here, but yeah, Leah and I did a nice big 3-week trip out to BC, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. Did some backpacking, did some paddling, so did a whole variety of stuff, and kind of did our honeymoon in on there too. And yeah.
Congrats.
Fun times. So hey, yeah, and it's
get a video out, man.
Grasslands there, so you
get a video out.
I'm actually working on it in the background. I've been trying to lurk all night and edit in the background. We've had so much stuff going on in the house. It's taken up way too much of my life. And unlike you guys, like I don't do it for a living. I'm kind of more like Max and Keenan, just doing it on the side when I can, right? So, and owning a house up in Northern Ontario, when you got a lot of, Northern craftsmanship repairs that you have to fix yourself because you're wondering what the last guy did. Yeah. So, and we didn't have power for 3 days over the weekend. So I was supposed to have a nice long weekend, and, we've been off grid, essentially just camping in our house here. So sometimes you don't need to go very far to get that experience.
You get freezing rain?
Yeah, we got freezing rain, trees down everywhere. Like every third tree was across a line. It was just disgusting. And now the ice is coming in on the lake. So it's hard water season. It's here to stay, boys. So winter camping time.
Woo. Yes. Yeah, you got ground cover? You got the snow on the ground?
Just a dusting, just a little sugar dusting here. So nothing crazy yet, but I'm gearing up for some winter ideas and things like that. So
good times.
But yeah, I wanted to ask everyone what's the number one area they want to develop their next skill set in. Like I know Xander, you're always trying different things out in the bush, and John, you're trying, pushing new whitewater boundaries and whatnot, exploring different areas. Max getting more into the filming stuff, but like, what's your next area, either, filming or whatnot, paddling, backpacking, that you want to kind of grow a skill set in?
Survival and storytelling. Yeah.
So you get the storytelling.
Sorry?
You get the storytelling pretty bang on, though.
Man, I think it's going to be an endless game. I think it's an endless pursuit of being able to tell better and better stories. Like, I can tell maybe a story over the time that I edit a video, but like sitting there telling a story, I talk in circles. So it's like I have to be able to edit it. And then also just like long-term survival, like wilderness living, things like that. I think those skills I want to learn, like procuring food from the woods and being able to sustain myself out there is, I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. So, yeah.
That would be a cool skill to learn, eh? Foraging, yeah.
Yeah, hunting as well. I think I want to learn more about hunting.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I'd say, probably whitewater for me. However, I just want to get to a level that enables tripping without having to portage excessively. Like the Pucksaw River, we had to portage more than I would like. But I don't really need to get into like class 3s because then you need just different outfitting, really, if you want to do it enjoyably and in a logistically efficient fashion. But I would say audio recording would be the kind of YouTube side. Like I'm more and more obsessed with audio, and I would love to get like some external, like really nice high quality audio recorder for outdoors, like Keenan. Is that the Sony?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, it's small.
Yeah.
I pictured it being bigger.
No,
have you used that to record ambient audio?
No, but it's coming. That's coming.
I'm really interested to see how that plays out.
I'm sure it'll be good, but yeah, we'll see.
So what are your skills, Max and Keenan, that you want to develop?
Personally, like there's not one category. If there's one category, I think Brad summed it up pretty well. It's like I'm focused on filming right now. Like it's a fairly new skill to me. There's some things that I think I understand at a fairly basic level, like composition, but there's so much more to just the technical aspects of filming. So that'd be my priority. But on a more like a more general level, I would agree with everything that Xander said. So like bushcraft, procuring food from the wilderness, probably even more prioritized because I'm more, I do it more often, is whitewater rescue. I'd love to get more into whitewater rescue. And also wilderness first aid. I mean, there's just so many things. Like to narrow it down, I don't really have like one thing as much as like a bunch of things. I really want to get good at taking drone footage. I don't even have a drone. So
neither do I. So.
Yeah. How's that going for you, Keenan? Like your drone's lost and
yeah, you lost one there, eh, Keenan?
Oh well, literally just I was right out in the middle of the lake and it just said no power and just started descending. So I aimed it for the trees and I made it to shore by about 15 feet. And I got it out of the tree, but I don't know whether the arm broke in the tree or whether it broke when it hit the ground. But anyways, it's all good. We'll get it repaired this winter and probably get a new one too. So I can have a backup on standby because they're cool.
Not intended, but it's a sinking feeling when you see the thing coming down and you can do nothing about it. Right?
It was right out in the middle of the lake and the screen just went black, and I don't even know where the thing is. I hadn't eaten breakfast, hadn't had a coffee. It was killing me. It was like, I don't really want to go out right now and find this stupid thing. But
so what I'm sensing here, Keenan, is that you want to become a better drone pilot then.
It just doesn't have one that loses power right in the middle of the lake. Yeah.
How about you, Brad?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with the whitewater rescue thing. Like, I want to do more advanced stuff with that, and I want to get a lot more comfortable with like knots because I got a decent, flotilla of knots that I can kind of bust out, but I really want to get more proficient in knots and getting more comfortable. We just trying a bunch of different knots all the time for different circumstances. That's probably the one place I really want to grow. I mean, I think you can grow pretty much anywhere. Every time you go out in the backcountry, it's a learning environment. You're never going to be an expert out there. And then tripping with you guys always brings up like a new skill set or an area that, is kind of interest to maybe try out, but definitely a whitewater rescue, get a little more proficient in that, and knot craft for sure. They're definitely my top ones.
Do you have a pack raft, Brad?
Yeah, I got a pack raft. I actually use it for racing and stuff sometimes. So it's pretty wicked. You can run some pretty big stuff with it.
Yeah, I'm just surprised. I haven't seen any videos from of you doing pack rafting. I'm just like surprised I haven't seen anything out of that. I've wanted pack raft for years, and we talked about this, I believe, just briefly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dennis, did you say you have a pack raft as well?
Who, me? No, I was waving at Aaron.
Oh, okay.
Well, so like I use it in races and stuff, and it's super fun. But I was supposed to do a trip with Jim Baird. We were supposed to do a little pack raft trip out by his house. There's a little tiny river that's like a spring run, but it didn't kind of work out with COVID. And then I was supposed to do one with Alex Trainer from Northern Scavenger. We're going to go down the Ox Tongue in spring flush, and then I found a hole in my pack raft and had to repair that and change things too. But I don't know, it's on the list. So if everyone else gets a pack raft, I'd love to do a trip with somebody on it. I think it'd be pretty sweet. Do some backpacking.
I want to get one too.
Yeah.
Can you take them in rapids? Like, what if you hit a rock? Are they just
waterfalls? You can take them, but people are doing crazy things with pack rafts.
Okay.
You go over a mountain chain and then go into a different watershed and go down like class 4 like whitewater. The problem is like you won't be able to film on your DSLR.
Yeah,
it's
GoPro. Yeah,
it's all GoPro. So
interesting. Yeah, I'd like to see some videos like that. I'm sure everybody would like to see that.
Well, there's some guys who like. There's one guy I forget his name. I've been watching for years. Just has the most epic videos. He has like 300 subscribers. But just everything in like Canyonlands and Utah and stuff. It's just unbelievable. Anyways, I'll stop talking pack rafts.
Yeah. So Brad, now you've tripped with Jon and Xander. From your perspective, these guys, and everybody knows probably the most epic scene in the whole video. All three of you hugging and dancing, jumping around the very beginning of the video. That's very manly of all of you. But from your perspective, what's the chemistry between these two guys? What do you feel? Why do they click so well?
Oh, it's total bromance. Like these guys are slipping like night cuddles together in the tent. It's kind of funny because the first night on our winter camping trip, we couldn't get out to where we wanted to get out. So we just slept in my mountaineering tent, and I'm pretty sure those guys were spooning all night long. So that's no, I kid. Just great characters. Like everyone's, super relaxed, super chill. I think everyone has the same attitude. And they're able to feed off that when they're in the woods together. So you kind of know when to be, silly and when everyone can be quiet for the camera and things like that too. So going with like-minded folks, you can tell that, these two are on the same wavelength when it comes to setting up shots and filming and kind of conducting themselves off on trips. So that's definitely where it's at.
Yeah, that's cool. So Jon and Xander, when you're out there in the backcountry, you guys are you learning each other's techniques out there for shooting video? Like, what's the biggest thing you've taken away from John's shooting video?
Just like what he's shooting and how he's shooting, like the shots that he'll get and how little he shoots sometimes, and more specific. Like I used to just blast through batteries and film everything, and that's good for film, like getting little candid moments, but it just like depletes your battery, and then you come home with like 2 terabytes worth of footage that you have to go through. And John's a little bit more sparse with it and more deliberate, and that's really helped me to just like take a step back and be more deliberate as opposed to just throwing crap and seeing what works and then having to deal with it all in the editing process. Like when you spend a little bit of time with any of these guys, like you can just see and pick up so much so quickly. It's like you can watch a YouTube video on like how to do things, but if you spend time with somebody and you can just like ask them questions, you pick up so much more so quickly. So honestly, I feel blessed to be able to hang out with people like this. So I don't know. It's really hard to pinpoint exactly what I learned, but John's taught me something at some point, I'm sure.
Cool. How about you, John? You pick up tips, tricks, techniques, anything that you've taken away from Xander's professionalism?
Yeah, immensely. I've learned a lot about Xander, from Xander about YouTube specifically. I think like he's just naturally much better at YouTube. He's been thinking about it a lot longer, so I've learned and filming, like life, camping. Yeah, I've learned a ton from him. But yeah, he's good at YouTube. He gets it.
And remembering to bring the food.
That too.
We touched on that tonight. That's cool. Yeah, because each one.
John, you're gonna get that forever.
It's so unlike him. That's why it's so funny.
It's so unlike him. Yeah.
And John, whenever he makes fun of you for that, you can just replay that image of Xander just letting the fish back down the ice hole.
Oh no! There's gonna be more moments like that.
Oh, what a good moment.
Yeah.
I look around at the panel here and I see like 5 YouTubers in front of me that are all very good at what you're doing, and that's what sells, I think, a good YouTube channel is, one, good camera, good storyline, right? And great editing skills. Like you have to have that ability of knowing what to cut out, what to keep, right? Xander, you're pro at that, man. Like your chop edits, you could probably take a 5-minute conversation and chop it down to 30 seconds or less, with the way you do your chop videos. To me, that was one thing that lured me to yours, is like everything was clear, concise, right to the point. It's you got the point across very easily, right, through your edit. So is that something that just comes naturally, or have you all garnered your editing skills and stuff like that through watching other people, or is it just something that's your style? Any one of you could answer that one.
I think everybody's got their own style, and if you watched everyone's videos from start to where they are now, they're constantly changing. They'll probably change every year for the rest of, or however long everyone makes videos for. That's kind of what I think. Everyone's got their own little niche or their own little alley that they're kind of going down, I don't know. That's what I think.
I had the benefit of 2 years of thinking critically about Xander's content before I released my first video. So like constantly, I would
send Max my videos before I posted them to like get like a final review or just like what he thought.
And
like that.
As time's gone on, like I've given him less and less feedback, but in the beginning we kind of battled a lot. We kind of I was just like, no, like just don't put that out there. And some things Xander was right, some things I was right. For me, like these are my first, like I've only been editing videos since May, but I've been editing music for over a decade. And the approach is very much similar in the sense that it's just like not trying to do everything at once, coming in layers, not chipping too much off the sculpture at once, just kind of like doing a layer, taking a break, doing another pass, taking a break, doing another pass, taking a break. And, that way it's just, for me, it was just like, there was just a clear sort of, it was exactly like music editing in many ways. It was just a clear transition.
Cool. And then like Brad, you have your own style. You have your own technique as well. Yours is more of a documentary storytelling thing that you usually do for your videos. Is that something that just comes natural as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think I got that from, like I said, like from my dad. I know we've probably talked about it on prior shows before because he was a cameraman and an editor for CTV. And back in the day, we're going back like 15 years now, I think, when we first launched a pilot, it was for actual, a television network, Oasis TV. So I don't know, I've kind of embodied that style. And sometimes it frustrates me because like I'm always trying to find a story out of stuff, even though like the trip itself is naturally a story, but I'm trying to find something that's engaging with me, even though like my audience might really like it. I get myself in a rut sometimes because I think and over edit and over criticize my own works. So pro and a con, when you're trying to make something that's more like a documentary style, you can definitely get yourself in a bit of a rut. And kind of like how Xander was saying, if it's not queued up in the queue right away and you're not editing it, you can kind of lose that drive. But then when you're doing a big, sort of documentary style trip video where you've got a storyboard and you're trying to figure out how you're going to lay it all out, you can definitely kind of get sidetracked. And guilty of that. I got a big 3-hour long documentary on an expedition we did in Quebec. It's been kind of sitting in the bin for a couple months, and I'm at like 85%, and I'm just struggling to get through that last little bit. So I'm hoping to pump out some videos and then kind of finish that one off, because the community's been kind of encouraging me too. And like, these guys have kind of been, let's get it out in a good way too. So, stuff like that. It's pro and a con.
Is that
right?
going to be, are you going to get that out after you write the book that Callan wants you to write, or?
That's slow. That's coming too. I've wrote a couple chapters actually recently.
Shout out to Brad and John though, because like so many times I've like used your guys' content for like doing my own trip, like last minute, like where am I going to go? Just like watch something Brad does and just be like, okay, I'm going there. Like even way before I knew him. It's so useful. I mean, in the kind of the style of content, like Brad, because you're so descriptive, like, and like, this is where I started and this is where I went and this is where I camped. Like that's like it's super, super useful, but almost like limiting in a way, because it's like you can't, you can't like, you can just, there's certain key details that you can't just like show up to camp and you're not like, not, I don't know, like it just, I would find that much harder what you do, where you can be kind of like more wishy-washy and just, instead of just showing up to camp and not being like, if something doesn't work out, you can be, I don't know, I would struggle at what you do, just being so detail oriented. And you do such a, like you guys do such a good, like service to the community. I am a beneficiary of it.
Yeah. You know what?
I've gotten a ton out of Brad's videos, and sorry, I'm trying to fix the lighting. It was, Steve pointed out it was making a waviness. It was our overhead light. Anyway, that's what's going on here. But yeah, I've gotten so much out of Brad's videos and website and maps. Yeah.
I was just gonna say Brad's. I guess Brad's on this side. Website, like I've been on his website, but actually going on it kind of more in depth with that last loop we just did. Like you got some really good stuff on there, man. Like really, really well done.
Yeah, he's got a great resource. I think all of us have probably called on some of Brad's information at one point or another.
Yeah.
And if you haven't in the chat there, you should.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm so tied up in that conversation there. I forgot where.
Yeah, well, there were a ton of questions. There were some good questions.
Yeah, I got one here. It's from Dave Hunt. He goes, "What's the best advice to give to someone who wants to start a channel and to produce video content?" And that's the start, man. Yeah, just start with what you have. Like a phone's good, because there's going to be a huge process to like learning everything. So just start with what you have and what you can. Like start with your phone. Start if you have a camera, that's even better. Film the next trip you go on, and then try to edit it to the best of your ability. You're gonna there's gonna be so many things that are wrong with it, but realize that's just the stepping stone to like creating good content. So then what you learn in that process, you can then like upgrade your next trip. You're like, oh, I missed these shots. Oh, the audio was crap. Oh, like I need to fix things here. I'm missing holes in my story here. Just keep doing it and just pump them out quickly and just do it.
The worst thing you could do is wait. Is just like don't wait. Just start. Whatever you have right now, no excuse.
Because that's where you're going to figure out where you're missing things that you need to be able to make better content. It's just by doing it right now.
Okay, guys. So this is what we got right now. It's 9:00. It's usually the end of the show, but you know what? We'll go for another 10 minutes, and I'm going to go back through some of the questions. If we could just give maybe short answers to get a little. Get the answers out there. One here, and this is for Keenan. When does your trip video air? I presume that's the one with the four of you.
Oh man, truthfully, I'm hoping to have it maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Honestly, it's the kind of like the worst time of year for me, because I'm at the end of tripping season, and then it's like work. I like work like crazy up until Christmas at least. So I don't have a ton of spare time, and like Ashley can test, like I barely, when I am here, I'm trying to hammer through some videos. So hopefully 2 or 3 weeks from now.
It better be a masterpiece after this wave.
Man, don't even. Yeah, I know that's the thing. Last one, no pressure, right?
And then Marty Morsette's asking, how committed to continue your journey of river tripping, or are you thinking of sticking to lakes after this season? We'll let John answer that, because I know you said you wanted to do more river stuff, right?
Yeah, I love a mix. The perfect trip for me has wetlands, has rivers, and lakes. So I definitely want to continue the journey of river tripping. Yep. But like I said, I don't know if I'll ever get like full spray deck and like a fully outfitted canoe, thigh straps and knee pads and everything, because I just don't think it represents enough of my paddling time to have those things, unless I get a completely separate canoe, which is also possible. But yeah.
I'm surprised when Kevin was on, you got past being a double blade paddler.
Yeah,
I didn't comment on that, because usually he picks that apart all the time, right? Island Lake, have you seen more trashy campsites because of more visitors during the pandemic year? I'm going way back in the chat here. These are ones I had start earlier. What do you think, guys? Are you seeing more garbage out there, more trash?
Yeah, I would say yes, but it depends where you go to.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed anything personally, but maybe it's where I'm going,
I think that has a lot to do with it. I think that really does have a lot to do with it there. Do you avoid clickbaiting, or do you creatively embrace it? Now, depending on the term of clickbaiting, obviously you're not showing yourselves in bikinis, but you do. All of you seem to come up with some really creative thumbnails.
You should just make a full show about this topic.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, this is something that all of us struggle with.
Yeah.
Immensely. Right? Like for me, it's like I have to push myself to do, because, and you even watch on other topics, like of other subjects on YouTube, you watch people that you respect, and they slowly start drifting towards more and more clickbait, because that, like, I think YouTube, the whole, like, the center of gravity is clickbait, right? Like it's just, there's just like a force like of YouTube that kind of makes you sort of gravitate towards that way, because it's like that's what determines success, right? So it's a very difficult subject, and it requires way more conversation. That's all I'll say.
You can have like a really like amazing video, but nobody's going to watch it unless they click on it. So you need that marketing there in order for people to click on it. As long as like you're not saying, I feel like it needs to be intriguing, but it can't not represent what's actually in the video.
You can't lie.
You can't lie.
That's what pisses me off. And I'll hit like, don't recommend this channel. If it's like alluring but not a lie, then I don't consider it clickbait.
Yeah.
Clickbait is showing something in the thumbnail that you don't deliver.
Right.
And often that's a bikini shot, like that shot's not in the video. Like actually our Quetico trip together, we had this shot. Back when we released it as a multi-part video, it was 5 parts, and one video had by far the most views, and it was Erin. It wasn't like provocative, but anyway, she was in a bikini in front of a waterfall. It was just a good shot for that part. I didn't like that it got the most traction, so I ended up changing the thumbnail, because I didn't want to, like, you can attract some greasy people too. Like you get comments like, oh, where's the bikini? Or if you click on it, if you watch a video with the thumbnail like that and read the comments, like it's clear what people are looking for. So you attract the wrong audience too.
It's funny because YouTube has this new feature there along the timeline that runs along the bottom, and it shows peaks and valleys of viewership and you can always tell where the perverts stop. Or, you know what I mean? Have you ever noticed that? You get the peak there. It's like, oh, something interesting happened there, right? Whether no matter if it's a bikini or like,
you can
I
find where the
really
good
noticed
stuff
the other day with that air tragedy that happened down in Texas, right? I was watching a video, and this guy that knows his aeronautics very well, and he was trying to explain his take on that accident. And every time the accident happened, like they showed video footage of it, there's a huge peak. Okay, so people are intrigued by seeing that, or what the clickbait part is, right? So yeah,
yep,
crazy. But you're right, Maxim. Yeah, that could be a show in itself for sure. Let's see here. Would any of you guys consider making your own wooden canoe?
Yes.
If I had time, for sure.
Erin wants to make us an outrigger canoe. I have no interest in it, but I'd be happy if she made us one.
Yeah, it's the first thing. I've got the plans and everything on my list once we move back to Thunder Bay and have the space and time. My parents built a sailboat, and when they were in their 30s and 20s and 30s, and sailed it to New Zealand. So I want to. So they've got some good boat building experience. So I want to utilize that and work with my dad and do a boat together. I think that'd be super fun. And an outrigger would be just awesome on Superior.
So cool.
Yeah. So you think Xander should make a birch bark canoe?
I'm not a very good craftsman.
Who's that guy in Northern Ontario? He's like who's that guy in Northern Ontario? He's like a master birch bark canoe builder. There's a dude, I think he's in Timmins area. I don't know. I was watching a video of it. It was very obscure, but the whole process of birch bark canoe is fascinating.
Well, if there's one guy that can handle birch bark, it's Xander.
Yeah.
What? Sorry,
let's see here.
I just said if there's one guy that can handle birch bark, it's Xander.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you guys ever plan on doing something big outside the province, maybe the Yukon or Newfoundland?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So watching Jim Bear's video on the Yukon is like so badass. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, Keenan, you've already been up. You've
video as well.
actually did the Yukon trip too, eh?
Yeah, we've been to the Yukon, I don't know, 5 times or something. And
oh, nice.
Yeah, we've been pretty fortunate to travel all over Canada. So yeah, no, but would we go again? Absolutely. Yeah, I'd go tomorrow.
Very good, very good. Yeah. And I got 3 more here, and these are from early on in the show. Do you guys have any plans of 2023 for possibly something to? This guy, same guy. I see that was an interesting one because I caught him twice. We'll skip that one. And which drones do you guys use? Your footage is both great.
Mini 2, DJI Mini 2.
I had the Mini a couple months ago. I got the Mini 3 Pro, and it shoots 4K and like it performs better in the wind, but it's been pretty buggy. So I don't know if I can recommend it, but yeah, it's amazing what drones do for what they cost and what they would have cost 10 years ago.
Yeah, I've got a Mini 1, so
yeah.
It's pretty limited, device. But it does the job.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic, and the fact that it has a built-in gimbal is amazing and it makes it so smooth. Yeah, they're pretty amazing.
Yeah. That Mini 3 Pro, like I don't like bang for buck. I don't think you can beat it.
Yeah, the software is buggy, but aside from that, like its actual specs are fantastic for the money.
Cool.
I'm still using a Spark.
If anyone's looking for one that's got 3 out of 4 arms, let me know.
It flies a little gimpy, but
yeah, no, it flies a little funny, but no, that's good.
Some people.
And last but not least, from way back at 7 minutes and 10 seconds into the show, John M's asking, do either of the guys ever give up while filming and either stop filming and enjoy their trip or flat out go home?
I
think that's geared towards Xander and John.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, guys.
Oh.
I was on that last trip we were on. I felt like there was quite a bit of time where there was not filming. Like there was like film, and then it was like it's not film. I don't know. I felt like there was lots of downtime personally, but
yeah, like I mean, when you're tripping with 4 guys, like when you're all sitting around the campfire, there's so much talking going that it's not really worth it to film anymore. We'll get like a little bit of that, but and then on trips by myself, I'll spend a couple. I'll have my me time, and I'll just sit there and enjoy nature. I have bailed on 2 trips before. One time because I had like a massive toothache, which I had to get a root canal for. And then another time, it was just like, I don't really remember, but it was just like a single night trip. I came back to it like a couple days later. But like, I'm kind of obsessed with filming a little bit. So it's like, oh, I didn't get that angle. Oh, I didn't get that angle. It's hard for me to stop sometimes. I literally wake up shooting myself with the camera, and then I'll take a break here and there, you know, when I'm like maybe stationary to not film and just like enjoy myself out there. But I love to film, and I'm obsessed with it. So it's pretty common for me to just film.
For a guy who's so loosey-goosey about everything else, Xander's super meticulous when it comes to filming. Like super.
Yeah, he works his ass off.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah, actually, I learned this principle from Xander. It makes perfect sense. Like you know, for the guy who was asking about like making YouTube content, Xander said this. It's not me. It's like, just don't be lazy. You know, if you want to get that shot of you getting out of the
don't even think about it.
Set up a shot, then go back in bed, and then get out. You know, like, just don't be lazy. Just
get the shot. Like, do it. Like, don't think about it. Just do it. Like, because you're going to be happy with it later, or you're going to regret not having done it. And then the more times you regret not having done it, you're just not going to end up with any content. Just get the shot, and you're going to be happy that you did. And you're just like creating a muscle there, and then you're going to just, you know, create great content that nobody, like, some people just, like, a lot of people that aren't doing super well in this, they're not getting the shots. They're hand bombing it. They're not getting those like impressive shots where you're like walking far away. They're lazy about it. And if you're not lazy about it, you're going to end up creating great content.
Well, and it depends on your objective too. Like, some people just want to capture it and share it with friends and family.
Yeah.
But if you want to make a go of making it, doing it for a living, there are people out there who are going to put in the work. And if you don't, then yeah, it's competition.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you watch that one guy there. What's his Whistling Diesel? Because I watch a lot of other stuff, other outdoor stuff. And this guy, he always says that too. His persona is, you know, blowing things up or scrapping things, but he says he always goes the extra mile to get the shot, and if it doesn't work out, it goes on the cutting room floor, right? So yeah, you got to put the miles in, when you're paddling way out there, and then, you know, you get that shot coming back in and going back out and stuff like that. It takes work. You guys all do an impeccable job at doing that too. It's obvious in your videos. So keep it coming, guys. Keep it coming. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis.
Well, we are at 9:15. I think we'll pack this one in for this evening. I just want to thank Jon, Xander, Keenan, Maxim, Brad, and Kevin for popping in tonight. You guys, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. You know, you're all welcome here on the show at any time, and that's why I keep inviting you all back. So thanks very much for enlightening myself and everybody in the chat tonight.
Thanks for having us, Dennis.
Yeah, thanks so much, Dennis.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Dennis.
Sure.
It's a lot of fun.
Just so everybody knows, you'll find links to their websites if you don't already know about it, or not their websites, but their YouTube channels and any other socials that they may have kicking around is in the description below. So by all means, give them a check out. Does anybody have the official count on Xander's?
Oh,
just refreshed. I don't know, Xander. I don't. It says 499 for me.
Really?
Okay.
I have 499,981. So
come on,
you're 19 away. Come on, if you haven't already, but you gotta be a good subscriber. You have to watch the content. A number is just a number.
Like and subscribe, watch everything, watch the no, I'm kidding.
That's awesome.
That was pretty well.
Congratulations, because I know you'll be
the beginning
tonight,
for you anyway.
So tomorrow we'll see the 500K beside your listing name there, and that's awesome.
It's wild, man.
Keep up the good work, fellas. I'll put y'all in the basement and close up the show, and we'll have a little after party. I'll see you in the basement there, boys.
Thanks,
and girls. Ladies, welcome too. Thanks all. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. You know what? These guys they're all class acts, every one of them. They're some of my favorite YouTubers for a reason. I love watching their content because I can't put out that kind of quality that these guys do. And the fact that they're doing it on a regular basis, and you know, they're giving us something to watch almost weekly or every 2 weeks. It's very hard to do in this gig. And you know what? Applaud them for what they do. Just want to close up with a few things just to remember that the winter season is nearly upon us. And next week we'll be having our annual winter camping show. So feel free to tune in if you haven't already checked it out. We've got past issues that you can check out, but we always seem to come up with some new stuff. We're going to have a couple knowledgeable people on to talk about winter camping, to share all kinds of tips with you. So please do join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. If you haven't already done so, please do smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed tonight's show. You know what? We had great numbers tonight. I'd really like to see some good thumbs up because it helps the algorithm for a Canoe Hounds Outdoor Adventure show on YouTube. Helps get us noticed somewhat. And if you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. We're here every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. And we're in our 4th season here, so we want to keep this train a-rolling. Anyways, we'll hopefully see everybody next week. Have a great, safe week. And remember, people, keep the adventures alive.